like to read the statement of the entire purpose of our meeting today, and then we'll end it. So I'll read the statement. The right to free speech is the foundation of a civilized, pluralistic, and a democratic society. In the biography, The Friends of Voltaire, the writer, Evelyn Beatrice Hall, summed up Voltaire's attitude towards freedom of speech as, "I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." Keeping this human spirit in mind, we wish to call all citizens across the globe to rise above our petty differences and stand together to demand the protection of our basic fundamental human right, the right to free speech. Organized religion and autocratic governments have demanded suspension of this very right to justify the unjustifiable. The trend of stifling free speech has entered even in some democratic political processes, which calls for an even stronger resistance against such behavior. Many religious authorities demand muzzling free speech based on their own claim that prejudices are inspired from a divine God. While the world at large becomes increasingly wary of giving a certain group a special privilege, the Islamic world seeks to carve out an exception for the Muslims. As a result, we repeatedly find ourselves looking at horrible images of burning buildings and killed diplomats every time Islam is ridiculed, criticized, satirized, or cartoonized. We hear Islamists, as well as Islamic leaders, calling all Muslims to harm writers, cartoonists, or filmmakers who have dared to insult their prophet. But the world of Islam is vast and heterogeneous. Fortunately, not all Muslims answer to such absurd calls for violence. In spite of what we have seen on our TV screens, we do not believe that the people of Islamic faith are any more or any less violent than anyone else. As a testimony, we have seen an outpouring of love from the Libyan people to the fallen ambassador, Mr. Chris Stevens, defying the fear of reprisal from extremists. We have witnessed large, peaceful demonstrations in Muslim world that overthrew tyrannical dictators and paved the way to modern democracy. But the aspiration of democracy demands protection of free speech. The entire Islamic world is ready to embrace a pluralistic society after a long history of oppression. The revolutionaries who overthrew dictators have done it mostly by expressing their anger through peaceful demonstrations. It is not naive to imagine that Muslim world is equally aware of the strength of freedom of expression just the way the rest of the world is. The freedom of speech is threatened again by some religious extremists in countries such as Tunisia, which is the birthplace of Arab Spring. Sculptures like Nadia Jelassi and Mohammed Ben Salman are deemed insulting to Islamists, and they were put into arrest. Lotfi Abdelli's play that satirizes politics and religions are stopped by Islamists. Abdelli says, and I quote, "I am not afraid to the threats and assaults, but I do really fear for our freedom of expression and creativity, which is the only thing that we got out of our revolution." Our demonstration today is to stand together with these brave revolutionaries who fought for their freedom of expression in a world that denied them the same for so long. Just the way the revolutionaries of Arab Spring fought for their freedom of speech through more speech, not violence, if ridiculing a faith or lack of it requires condemnation, we demand a matching condemnation. We largely agree that the video, like The Innocence of Muslim, is a terrible video and must be confronted with scathing reviews. But burning building and killing people to protest a video is insulting to the free world. And the free world has the right to condemn such action through free speech. Words such as insulting or offensive cannot be exclusive to faith. We extend our hands to everyone across the world, irrespective of faith or lack of it, to join us in condemning videos like Innocence of Islam and also condemning the demands to censor it, and certainly condemning the mindless violence associated with it. We are aware that a lot of political points are scored across the world on the basis of this entire incident, but we are keeping ourselves out of that discussion right now before we establish decisively that the right to free speech will not be stifled through intimidation and fear of reprisal. We are here to reaffirm the valued sentiment to all that we may not agree with what you have to say, but we will defend your right to say it. But we will not defend the call for violence, because that is not anyone's right. Please join us to uphold the right to free speech. Thank you.
Thank you.